guys, it's Olivia and welcome back to Live in Literature. Thank you so much for all the love and support I received my last video, and if you have not seen it yet, feel free to head over to our channel to check it out. Well guys, welcome to the channel and welcome to Live in Literature. If you're a new subscriber here, welcome. We are so happy to have you. I am absolutely thrilled with all the new subscribers we've been getting recently. It's been so exciting. And guys, I am so excited for today's video. This is a video topic that has been, at least something that has been on my mind for my entire life, pretty much. Because if there's one thing that you know about me, it's that I love historical fiction and I love fantasy. And I love that nowadays we are combining my two favorite genres into one with historical fantasy. And that's what we're going to be talking about today is historical fantasy book recommendations. So this is going to be for my girlies who enjoy historical fiction, who love to read a little historical romance kind of moment, and my girls who love some fantasy. Some of these are going to be a little more fantasy leaning. Some of these are going to be a little bit more historical leaning. You can pick your poison of whatever you want to choose. So we have tons of great recommendations for you today. But before we get into the video today, we have a couple of elephants in the room we need to address. First of all, my voice, which sounds like a seagull. I'm so sorry, everyone. I went and saw the Wicked premiere, or the Wicked movie on Saturday night, and I haven't recovered since. And it literally is still sounding so bad. I promise I was not one of those annoying people singing in the theater, but I was screaming Defying Gravity in my car as I drove home from the theater.
This week, people are taking the lyrics of Defying Gravity and really holding space with that.
I didn't know that that was happening.
And literally tore my vocal cords. And it is just a horrible sight. So I'm sorry if I'm sounding a little funny today. Second elephant in the room. We need to announce our 900 subscriber giveaway winner. Drum roll, please, as we insert the clip. Hey guys, it's me editing today's video. I'm on holiday with my family for the holidays for Thanksgiving, and I just want to announce our giveaway winner, which is Sophie. Sophie, thank you so much for entering the giveaway. You will be receiving 2 books, a book boyfriend bookmark and a book tote of your choosing. So I've already emailed you and disclosed to you that you are the winner of our giveaway. So thank you so much for entering, and all those who entered the giveaway, thank you so much. Thank you so much for participating. I so appreciate it. And I'm so grateful that I get to give away some amazing stuff for you guys for the holidays. So Sophie, congratulations. I love you so much. And thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Bye. Thank you so much for everyone who entered the giveaway. And for our giveaway winner, don't forget, you are going to win 2 books, a book tote, and a book boyfriend bookmark of your choosing. Congratulations to everyone who entered the giveaway, and congratulations to our winner. Again, guys, I do a giveaway every 100 subscribers until we reach 1,000. And when we reach 1,000 subscribers, guys, we are going to be doing a massive giveaway with lots of cool things. And I'm so excited to tell you guys all about it. Now let's get into our next segment where I talk about what book I just finished reading and what book I am currently reading. I just started adding this segment to all of my videos as a little quick introduction to the video, just because I want you guys to know what I just finished reading, what I'm currently reading, and the things that I am loving. So I just finished currently reading Where the Library Hides, which is the conclusion of the What the River Knows duology by Isabel Ibanez. Guys, I said it once, I'll say it again. I am such a stan of Isabel Ibanez. I loved the first one. I love this one. This also is an incredible example of historical fantasy. And I'm going to talk about this book today. So I'm not going to give too much away right now. All you need to know is the book was 5 stars for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was absolutely so entertaining and an excellent conclusion to a wonderful duology. So absolutely slayed this one. And now for what I am currently reading. I am currently reading The Songbird and the Heart of Stone by Carissa Broadbent, who is, as many of you know, kind of my author of the year. I am obsessed with Carissa Broadbent. She has now entered the pantheon of my favorite authors. She is in the goddess realm, the pantheon of the greatest authors up there, along with Miss SJM, Miss V.E. Schwab. She is up there in my pantheon of authors. Carissa Broadbent's book is about a side character from the Serpents and the Wings of Night duology, and it's one character that I absolutely adore. And this book is going to be so good. I am literally so excited for it. I've just barely started. You can see my Cassian bookmark just peeking out, making an appearance. And I've just barely started it, but already I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with this book. I literally cannot wait to read it, and I'm going to take this holiday season break to read it. Also, a massive happy Thanksgiving to all of my American followers. And if you're not American, you celebrate Thanksgiving, congratulations and welcome to the party. And happy Thanksgiving. I just want to take this time to just say how grateful I am for all of you and how thankful I am for this like time that I get to share my opinion about books on the internet is really special to me. And I'm just super grateful to have a platform to share my voice and my opinions. And I'm really grateful for you guys and the people who follow me. So I love you guys. I'm super grateful for you.
I love you, Metro Man.
And I love you, random citizen.
But now, what you guys all came here for, historical fantasy. To intro the segment, I just want to talk about how historical fantasy has impacted my life. Essentially, I've been reading historical fiction since I was a kid. Like, I love historical fiction. I was reading Little House on the Prairie. I was reading anything that had to do with, like, indigenous life, Native American culture in America, like the settlers. I love World War II. I loved, like, anything war-related. Really was totally my bread and butter. Like, I just grew up reading that kind of stuff. It's just the stuff that I love. And then I discovered fantasy, and now I am the picture of performance of what you see today. This is what fantasy has done to me. So if you don't want to look like this, don't read fantasy. But if you want to look absolutely incredible, read fantasy, because hot girls read fantasy.
Real hot girl shit.
So then I think I discovered fantasy when I was like 11, 12, 13. And that's where my life really took a turn. And then I feel like over the past couple of years, we've recently been getting a lot of historical fantasy where people are combining the elements together. And I just absolutely have been adoring the genre. I've been adoring it since I was a kid, and I adore it now. It's one of my most favorite things to read. It might not be everybody's cup of tea, but again, like I said, the books that I'm going to be recommending today are going to have a varying scale of like more historical to less fantasy or more fantasy to less historical kind of vibe. And I'm hoping I can get you guys totally on board with historical fantasy. Again, one of my favorite genres. I absolutely adore it. So enough of me jabbering. Let's just get into the video and let's get started. The first one I want to talk about is, of course, Where the Library Hides by Isabel Ibanez. Again, what I think is one of the greatest historical fantasy duologies ever. And what I also think is one of the greatest representations of a perfect historical fantasy. This one definitely is more historical to fantasy, okay? The historical scale is up. We have a young woman. The first book is What the River Knows. And we start with our lead character, Inez, who is from Argentina. It takes place in like the early 1900s, very Victorian era. And her parents are archaeologists who study Egyptian like mythology and hieroglyphics and stuff in Egypt. And her parents go missing, and so she decides to go to Egypt to find them. Her uncle's there with her. He has this hot assistant named Wit, who is like, he is so fine. I'm obsessed with him. And essentially, she goes on this mass like hunt to like find her parents in the Egyptian sun. And it's this amazing, amazing book, and it's a great historical book. I would say this one definitely has like a little bit of a fantasy element because in the book there are objects and artifacts that they're finding from these tombs and from all of these like different like hidden resources, and the artifacts have like some magical elements. There's like a pinch of magic on these elements. Like the elements have somewhat of a magical element to them. Again, this isn't like super intense fantasy. This is very much like a sprinkle of fantasy, if you will. This one definitely is like The Mummy, Brendan Fraser, like I'm talking cargo pants and knee-high boots and khaki and like ripped open shirts and pistols and like fighting different people. And it's just like,
Do you really want to know?
Yes.
Then get me the hell out of here.
it's high society, and so everything has to be proper and needs chaperones, but like you can't have chaperones out in the Egyptian sun. It's just everything. It's sexy, it's fun, it's a YA, like fun duology, and it's something that I absolutely would recommend to absolutely anyone obsessed with this book series. I love this. 5 stars for me. Next, we get into one of my favorite books of this year that I absolutely loved. Smashed it out of the park by one of my favorite authors. We have Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. Now, I don't even know if you can technically consider this historical fantasy because Macbeth obviously wasn't a real person. It's based off of the Shakespeare play, but that's kind of where I go. Where like this is going over like English and British and Scottish, this is going over English and Scottish and like French and German like history. It's a little bit of like the colonization of like those countries in like the 200-300 AD times, like period, if you will. And Lady Macbeth, obviously, is like all about the woman, like Lady Macbeth, and how she became married to this Scottish brute, this monster that is Macbeth. This one definitely has way more magical elements than the last one. So our scale is going up. We're getting more magic in this one. This one definitely leans a little bit more like witches heavy. This one's definitely more mystery heavy. This is a gothic historical fantasy, okay? This is angst. This is disgust, this is deceit, this is gothic. It's rich in the foggy hills of Scotland. It's somewhere that you just want to creep off to and disappear. This is like Wuthering Heights on crack. Like, this is so intense, it's gross, it's depraved, it's sexy, and I just like absolutely loved it. Like, I genuinely think that like, this is not going to be a book, to be honest, like this is not going to be a book for everyone. Because I'm a Shakespeare girl and I love my Shakespeare, this book really spoke to me as someone who's never seen this interpretation of Lady Macbeth. And I just like thoroughly enjoyed it. And so I really liked the concept that she came up with for who Lady Macbeth is and this like hidden power, this like almost like darkness, witchiness that she has inside of her. So again, the fantasy scale is going up, but it's a great historical read and I really enjoyed it. It's also a quick read. It's not too long. And again, it will definitely get you spooked. So if you want something a little spooky for the winter season, this is for you. Next, we're going with probably my favorite fantasy, historical fantasy duology of last year, which was Rebecca Ross's Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. Guys, listen, you've heard it enough times. People on the internet can't stop clamoring for this duology. And for good reason. I think that this is one of the best written historical fantasies that I've ever read. Again, we're going up on the fantasy scale, less on the historical scale. Because this book doesn't take place in like a true like world. This is a like made up fantasy world, but the vibes in this setting are extremely historical. Because this book reads like a World War II war novel, and yet there's all this like other fantasy stuff going on, it like gives historical fantasy. For those of you who don't know the summary of this story, essentially we have Iris Winnow, a young 18-year-old girl who is a journalist at a publishing newspaper. And right now there is a war going on between the gods of this world, but she's just trying to help like her family survive. And at one point she is, she's like reporting for this newspaper, but decides that she needs to take a stand. She wants to do something to help the war effort. And so she goes off to like go to the war front to write about what's going on at the front of this war, this god war. And essentially, she has a rival at this office named Roman Kit, and they can't stand each other. But when he finds out that Iris Winnow goes off to war, to the front, he can't help but follow her. But why? He's her enemy. But really, is he going to become her lover? We'll never know unless you read it.
Tune in next week for the exciting conclusion, Woody's finest hour!
All right, next day!
But this duology is fabulous. Again, this one very much reads like a World War II, like high stakes, like everything's on the line, like my lover could die at any moment kind of vibes. And it reads like that. But again, it has the fantasy element of like taking place in a world that doesn't exist. And of course, it's because it's a god's war and there's like a lot of other elements. Oh my gosh, book one leaves you on the saddest cliffhanger of all time. I literally cried my eyes out. And book two concludes it all in a devastating way, in a heartbreaking way. I sped my way through Ruthless Vows because I was just like so anxious the whole time reading this. It is so good. I absolutely love this fantasy duology, and I think Rebecca Ross is, again, one of the most talented authors of this day and age who writes historical fantasy, and I think this book absolutely nails it on the head. It is so good. Next, we have a wonderful and one of the most well-written historical fantasies of all time by also one of the greatest authors of all time. We have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Guys, V.E. Schwab is one of the greats. The way that she writes, how she writes, the depth in which she is writing. My gosh, this woman can do no wrong. This book is perfection in like 400 pages. I kid you not. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is wanderlust. It speaks to like the idea of like living forever. It speaks to wanting to be remembered for something. This book is about a young woman named Addie LaRue in 1714 France. She's basically being arranged to have an arranged marriage situation. She's being forced to marry someone, even though she just wants to be young and free and live. And so she runs away into the woods and she makes a deal with the dark gods of this time. And one of the gods answers her prayer and essentially grants her the ability to live forever. The only problem is that anyone she comes encounter with, the moment that they turn away from her, they forget who she is and they forget her. She can quite literally not be remembered by anyone unless they are physically like looking at her. And Addie's lived her entire 300 years of life this way, of living her life and having fun. And every year, once a year, the dark god Luck appears to Addie and asks her if she's ready to give up her soul. And every year she says no because she just hasn't had enough of life. But she's sick of not being remembered until one day in like this present day New York City, she walks into a bookstore and meets a boy who ends up remembering Addie after she walks away. and they end up forming this connection. She's finally remembered by someone, but there is a twist to all of this, and the dark gods are at play in their world. This book is incredible. You get the past and the present with Addie. You get this like adventure in the 1700s, like France survival of Addie. And then you also get this like modern day grown version of Addie who's like, who knows herself, who's discovered herself over years and years and years. And this book is just quite literally one of the most beautiful things I've ever read. It's extremely well written, it's poetic, and it's beautiful. And it has an incredible like historical fantasy element that just takes you through time. I absolutely love this book, and I think it is incredible. Everyone should read it. If you are ever like want to read a book about just like being remembered and like life and enjoying things and just like a breath of fresh air, like this is the book for you. It's extremely well written. It's dark, it's gritty, but it's also like full of hope and good feeling and good vibes. And I just love this book, and I love V.E. Schwab. So everyone go read this one. The last one I want to talk about is one new book that I have read this year that I actually thoroughly enjoyed. And I don't think I spent enough time talking about it because I think I've only brought it up once since I last read it. And that is Scythe and Pen by A.C. Hobbs. Scythe and Pen by A.C. Hobbs, guys. This is the vampire 1920s dream that some of us want, okay?
I ain't got time for you, baby.
This is the 1920s vampire fantasy, okay? This one very much reads like a historical fantasy, okay? I feel like this one is an even balance of historical to fantasy because technically, again, the world is not canon. This takes place in London in the 1920s, okay? It's the 1920s, it's London. Gangsters are running rampant, like people are just trying to survive. And yet, we have two types of people living here. We have the vampires and the humans. There's also other couple of like magical subspecies that live in this realm as well, but people are just trying to survive. There's a young man named Demetrius Rask. His father is the vampire senator of this of London. And Demetrius and his father have been working for years to pass a bill to give vampires and humans equal rights because the vampires are lower class citizens here and they don't have equal rights to the humans. But when they are literally about to pass this bill, a murder happens. Vampire murders are happening where it looks like vampires are killing humans. And so people are getting angry, like the people are rioting. They're like, vampires shouldn't have the same rights. And so this one is very much like a political historical fantasy, and I eat up anything 1920s. It's sexy and it's fun, it's dark and it's depraved, and I love it. And so Demetrius makes a deal with a man named Hades Cronus, who does not play by the rules. He's definitely a gangster, but he will do whatever it takes to figure out who is killing these humans. I absolutely adored this book. It is not a completed series, so there is going to be more in this series. But I absolutely ate up the vampire element. I absolutely ate up Hades Cronus and this magical being that he is. And I absolutely just love this like very political, gangstery, like vampire human, like tale. Like, I just think this book was so interesting. It's like unlike anything I've read. I think I gave it 4.5 stars when I rated it. Absolutely fabulous. If you're wanting something that's more of a political historical fantasy, this is going to be the one for you. And I cannot wait for book 2. I will absolutely be reading it. It is jaw-dropping. It is gripping. It's dark. I love this book. So that is all the historical fantasy book recommendations I have for you guys today. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe to the Living Literature YouTube channel. Guys, we are literally growing the channel so much every single day. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. I'm so grateful for all of you. And for everyone who entered the giveaway for 900 subscribers, thank you guys so much. You're truly the best. And I love you all the most. If you guys have any video ideas for the holiday season that you want to see me do, please leave them down below in the comments. But again, I love you guys the most. Happy Thanksgiving. And I love you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing holiday season, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.